Super Duck and the Missing Bread Mystery. Once upon a time in Duckville, there was a regular-looking duck named Dave. But Dave had a secret. When the town needed him most, he transformed into the one and only Super Duck, the bravest, mightiest, quackiest superhero in the whole wide pond. One morning, all the ducks of Duckville woke up to a terrible discovery: the bread was missing. Every crumb from the bakery, every loaf from Granny Quacker's kitchen, every slice left on the park benches, it was all gone. The ducks were devastated. "No bread? How will we survive?" cried Donnie, the duck with a belly bigger than his beak. "We need Super Duck," they shouted. At the sound of distress, Dave flapped into action. He put on his red cape and his shiny mask. With a mighty quack, Super Duck was on the case. First stop, Detective Ducky's office. Detective Ducky was smart, but he had a habit of waddling in circles when he got nervous. "It's a mystery, Super Duck," he said, waddling in circles so fast he looked like a feathery tornado. "I've looked everywhere, but no clues." "Don't worry, Detective," said Super Duck, puffing out his chest. "I'll crack this case wide open, like an egg." Super Duck started his investigation by checking the bread bakery, run by the always suspicious Betty the Goose. Betty was known for hoarding bread crumbs, but today she was in a panic. "I swear, Super Duck," hunked Betty, "I didn't take the bread. I even had to eat salad for breakfast." She made a disgusted face. Super Duck quacked reassuringly, then waddled on to Swan Street, where the fanciest birds lived. "Surely, they have backup bread," he thought. But when he arrived, the swans were flapping around in chaos, trying to toast air. "It's even worse than I thought," Super Duck muttered. "No one in town has bread." Then, suddenly, he heard a strange noise, a faint crunch, crunch, crunch coming from the direction of the Great Pond Hill. With his super speedy webbed feet, Super Duck zoomed to the top of the hill, where he found the culprit, Gary the Squirrel. And there he was, sitting on a giant mountain of bread, munching happily. "Gary!" Super Duck exclaimed. "You can't take all the bread. What do you have to say for yourself?" Gary looked up, cheeks stuffed with bread, and shrugged. "Winter's coming," he said with his mouth full. "I like to plan ahead." Super Duck laughed. "Gary, you're supposed to store nuts, not bread. Plus, you've taken enough to last 5 winters. We need to share." Gary looked at the giant pile of bread and nodded. "Maybe I went a bit overboard," he said, tossing Super Duck a slice. "How about we make a deal? I'll give the bread back, and you help me gather some proper winter food." Super Duck agreed, and with a mighty flap, he flew back to Duckville with enough bread for everyone. The ducks cheered as Super Duck landed with a dramatic whoosh. Super Duck saved the day, again, they quacked in unison. And from that day on, Gary the Squirrel became Duckville's honorary bread protector. As for Super Duck, he went back to being plain old Dave. Until the next bread-related emergency, that is. The end.